So in today's video, what I want to talk about is what to do if you end up with a tax inquiry. So what is the tax inquiry? That's when HMRC say, we want to look into your tax return and we're going to ask you some questions regarding it, and then if we're satisfied, we'll go away. If we're not, we'll keep going, or we'll charge you some money based on tax we've lost out on and potentially penalties. I want to do this video today and in terms of timing, it's really relevant because I was talking to an accountant friend of mine the other day, and we both came to the conclusion after talking to each other that actually inquiries at a basic level are getting more and more common. And the reason for that, in my opinion, is because HMRC have had a huge level of staff turnover, and what they've got is far more junior members of staff now than they did previously, and those junior members of staff need to be baptised, so they give them really pointless inquiries that don't make any sense, that cause a lot of chaos, that cost HMRC more money than they actually recover, and they cost the actual taxpayer huge amounts in lost productivity and accounting fees, although we defend our clients as part of our package so they don't pay extra. But I want to cover this right now because as a small business owner, you're probably more likely to have an inquiry than ever. What I'm going to do though is I'm going to do a separate video in the interest of keeping this one shorter on the things you can do to avoid an inquiry, because there are many things you can do to stack the odds in your favour. But assuming you get an inquiry, this is a bit of a procedure that you should really follow. I'm not going to go through the whole thing because at a certain level you probably will want to get an accountant involved, although many accountants might not want to get involved. But as long as you've got a good relationship with your own accountant, then the chances are they'll deal with this for you from the beginning, or at least step in when you've done the initial bits. So someone from HMRC calls you and they say, I'm looking into these numbers, I just want you to clarify these things. First thing you do is just check they are genuinely who they say they are. There could be so many fraudsters out there that are actually just trying to get hold of your personal details, certain bank details, anything. So you have to deal with this with a certain degree of scrutiny. Don't get tricked by fraudsters, especially if they're talking about bank details or anything like that. So check who they are. The second thing is, fair enough, listen to them, try and understand the grounds of their investigation, but most important thing is don't give them any information over the phone. Don't give anything away about your business. Do not answer any of their questions over the phone. Ask them to put it all in writing. It's really important because at the point they phone you, they're just fishing. At the point they put it in writing, they are actually establishing a proper inquiry, and you asking them to do that at that point can be a deterrent in the first instance for that HMRC officer, because they might think, actually, I was just fishing, now do I have the grounds to actually turn it into something proper? Whereas something you said over the phone might have given them a bit of information that they needed to turn it into a full inquiry. So that's definitely one thing you need to do. You just wait to see if something comes through in the post regarding this inquiry, and also at that point they will then lay out their questions so you can actually deal with them in a structured, concise way. That's third thing that you really need to do whenever someone opens HMRC open up an inquiry is just check if it's in date, right? So if you submit a tax return, HMRC have 1 year from when you submit it to actually open up an inquiry and ask for more information about that. After that 1 year is up, they have to do there has to be what you call a discovery. HMRC have to have access to a new piece of information they didn't have before to be then able to open up an inquiry past that date. So it's really, really important that if you check at that point that they are legally entitled to open up that inquiry, and if you suspect they're not, then you've got to go back and ask them, could you just confirm on what legislative grounds you are instigating this inquiry? Ask them what they suspect and ask them what their discovery is, because it is outside the 1 year window. Very, very important. And then I guess the fourth thing really is you might want to get an accountant involved, or they should be involved already at this stage. But as long as you've done those first three things right, then time is on your side anyway, and then you can then really plan your response to it. I won't go into too much detail on how accountants do deal with it, but ultimately there is an element of answering some of HMRC's more basic questions and within reason, and then quite often we then go down the grounds of claiming the inquiries too onerous and not proportional relative to what HMRC suspect. We work hard to find out what their suspicions are so we can actually just directly answer their specific questions regarding your accounts. And then in general, what we then do is just go down the complaints process, have it escalated to team leaders, and have it shut down that way. If it comes to that, sometimes if there is a moderate amount of doubt, someone might have put something through the books that shouldn't have been there, we may work out a settlement, which means everyone can just go their own way. HMRC get their settlement. The business owner saves days, hours of time because by paying a few £100, it's not the end of the world. But ultimately, the point being here is if you manage to think, if HMRC think you're an easy win for them, if they think you're unrepresented, then they're more likely to go after that information and try and use up your time. Whereas if you come across professional, composed, and more importantly, if you've got a good quality accountant dealing with it, then HMRC are more likely to want to shut it down earlier so they don't waste their time. Inquiries are quite rare, I will just point this out. They don't happen that often, but when they do, it's important to just deal with it the right way. So I'll see you at the next video, and great making this one. Thank you.